Welcome back to Sparked in the Quiet. I'm so happy that you're here. There are moments in life when we don't feel broken in obvious ways. Nothing dramatic has happened. Nothing has fallen apart all at once. We're still functioning, still showing up, still doing what needs to be done. But something inside feels closed, not loud, not chaotic, just hard. And maybe that's the hardest part to explain, because when your life looks fine on the outside, it can feel confusing to admit that something inside feels distant, unresponsive, or numb. Not gone, just unreachable. That's where today's scripture meets us. Not in crisis, not in collapse, but in the quiet recognition that something in us needs to be restored. Ezekiel 11 verse 19 says, "I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you. And I will remove the heart of stone from their flesh and give them a heart of flesh." This is not a rebuke. It's not a warning. It's not even a command. It's a promise. And it's spoken to people who are tired, displaced, disoriented, and unsure if God is still near. What stands out immediately is this: God does not ask them to fix their hearts. He doesn't say, try harder to feel. He doesn't say, prove that you care. He doesn't say, convince me you're still faithful. He says, I will. A heart of stone isn't always rebellious. Sometimes it can be protective. It forms slowly, layer by layer, after disappointment, unanswered prayers, delayed hope, or seasons where believing felt costly. A heart of stone doesn't mean you stop loving God. It often means you loved deeply and didn't know what to do with the silence that followed. So you learn how to be careful, how to stay composed, how to keep moving without feeling too much. And eventually, without even realizing it, your faith became something you carried instead of something you felt. God names this condition without shame. He doesn't say the heart of stone is wicked. He simply says it cannot feel the way it was designed to. And he doesn't blame you for that. One of the most important words in this verse is remove. God does not ask permission from the stone. He does not negotiate with it. He doesn't require you to soften it first. He says he will take it away. That matters, because some of us have been trying to force ourselves back into feeling, trying to feel grateful, trying to feel connected, trying to feel confident in God again. But Ezekiel 11 verse 19 reminds us that restoration does not begin with effort. It begins with surrender. Not dramatic surrender, not emotional surrender, just honest surrender. The kind that says, I don't know how to feel again, but you do. God doesn't promise a repaired heart. He promises a new one. And that's significant because repairing implies returning to what once was. But renewal implies becoming something you haven't been yet. A heart of flesh is not fragile. It's responsive. It feels joy more freely. It feels sorrow more honestly. It responds to God without needing certainty first. This isn't about becoming overly emotional or spiritually intense. It's about becoming receptive again, able to be moved, able to be guided, able to trust. Not because you understand everything, but because you recognize God's presence again. Many believers today aren't questioning God's existence. They're questioning his closeness. They aren't walking away from faith. They're just holding it at arm's length. And Ezekiel 11 verse 19 speaks directly to that space. God does not say, come closer. He says, I will come closer. He does not wait for you to feel ready. He prepares your heart for connection himself. A heart of flesh doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you stop bracing yourself against God. You stop assuming distance. You stop interpreting silence as absence. You stop measuring faith by how strong you feel. Instead, you begin to notice subtle peace instead of forced confidence, quiet trust instead of constant reassurance, presence instead of explanation. And that shift doesn't happen overnight. It unfolds slowly, often in ways you don't notice until you look back. If your heart feels tired today, God is not disappointed. If your faith feels muted, God is not distant. If you feel guarded God is not offended. He already named this condition, and he already promised the remedy. Ezekiel 11 verse 19 reminds us that God does not demand emotional access. He creates it. He doesn't wait for your heart to soften on its own. He reshapes it with care. Not suddenly, not forcefully, but faithfully. And even now, whether you feel it or not, that work may already be underway. Let this spark carry you, one step, one moment, one breath at a time.